Good evening. My name is Bruce Montgomery, and thank you for joining me on another edition of Technology Access Television. Well, you know, when people start website projects, they start all the time with the great ambitions of world domination. We're going to do all these great things, and people start architecting and coming up with all these good concepts. And then it seems like after 6 to 8, 9 months, a year into the project, then the labor really starts of how do we maintain and keep this site fresh and yet still give the opportunity of accessing the important content that's been put on this site after all this laborious work that all of the talented people do. And that's where the rubber really meets the road, and so many websites crumble under the weight of their own ambitions because of not focusing on the long-term content management strategy. Well, you know, we talk a lot on this show about WordPress and about blogging, but these tools have a lot more features than most people really give them credit for. They've really become full-featured content management platforms. And my guest today has taken this as his personal mission to really grow these concepts and grow these platforms to the next level of success in this area of enterprise content management. Yes, yes, Grandma, blogs aren't just blogs anymore, and WordPress isn't just for blogging. These platforms have actually become content management systems in their own right. And I want to thank Daniel Jallits for coming on here today. And your company is Zoomulus, right?
That's correct.
Okay, I got it right, I hope.
Yep.
And yeah, but I know I got what you want to do right, and that's focus on content management and really making these tools and platforms work for the ongoing maintenance of major enterprise content management, major websites. And I guess that's a lot of fun, and as much fun as you can stand in a 24-hour day, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. WordPress, of course, is in fact gaining a lot of notoriety in this space, and we're seeing more and more big sites really depend on this. Is it because of the ease of use, or is it because of the content management platform that is starting to become available in this tool?
It's both. I mean, it's been said before, major websites such as CNN's Political Tracker, People.com, are powered by WordPress. It's definitely something that performs very well when you're getting a lot of site traffic. There are some things that WordPress doesn't, it's not quite there yet. So what my company is doing is we're trying to look at those enterprise content management systems like Oracle UCM, and we're taking WordPress and we're identifying what works for each system. And we're going to mash them up together.
Now, does that mean that you'll be able to have either plugins or tool sets where some things happen in WordPress, but then some things happen in the database on the back end, but they're both working seamlessly together to provide a comprehensive solution?
Essentially, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. Is you'll come to it and it'll look like WordPress, but really you're interacting with an Oracle database and the Oracle content server.
Well, that sounds like the best of both worlds then, because as these larger organizations who have so much data tied up in Oracle or other databases anyway, this is a way of taking what they already feel kind of good about and moving that content onto the web in these areas. Talk about some of the application areas where this really makes a lot of sense. When people think content management, they're thinking, you know, publishing, or, you know, you mentioned people like CNN, but this is something that means something to distributors or marketers or all different types of people. Talk about some of the industries where this really makes a lot of sense.
Well, for instance, the tech industries, Microsoft.com. Microsoft.com hires and, I mean, you could get a job blogging nowadays, and they have people blogging 24/7 about Microsoft products. What's good, new developments, new techniques for employing those new software solutions that they offer. You see it on marketing firms. You know, corporations that, you know, hire on a marketing firm to do something. They have bloggers, but they also, because they have so much content and there's so much traffic to those sites, that they need kind of more of a established database system to, you know, to rely on. And as good as MySQL is, there are some benefits to the Oracle system with the file indexing.
Now, you know, the reason WordPress has become so popular globally is because of the ease of use. But when people start talking SQL and SQL calls and you know, database administration, that sounds like a little more than people are ready to handle. You know, people have a hard enough time looking at PHP or looking at HTML. You start looking at SQL, you say, well, I don't know what this is all about. Is that really putting it then back into the hands of the programmers, or can this be set up where it does work out of plugins or plug and play, and you just use a component and put it onto your site and it just works, and you don't really have to know why it works, but you know you have this kind of capability there?
Our solution is a little bit more involved. It's more for the enterprise. We will release it as an open source addition to WordPress. So anybody would be able to go through it and use it in their own right. But it's more meant for the enterprise, where they are going to have, you know, database administrators that work with SQL every day.
Now, you've really been a person who has really decided to, you know, really go after this industry whole hog. And I think what you're pointing to is that these are really talents and skills that are creating new kind of opportunities out there to bring both I wouldn't say Oracle is the old world, but clearly it's the established world when you talk about enterprise and corporate America. And yet you're marrying that skill with this new skill of open source and of the blogging, and really taking it to another dimension. Would you encourage people out there who, you know, we've had some, you know, times where a lot of very talented people are not employed at the big organizations, and maybe they have 5 or 10 years of Oracle or DBA experience under their belt. Should they be doing the same thing you're doing, thinking about how to connect the dots and move some of these tools together to bring some new solutions that could be cost effectively deployed, and maybe that's going to create a job opportunity for themselves?
Oh, definitely. If you're coming out of school or if you're unemployed, you know, looking at what you know in the past or what you would like to know and kind of contributing to an open source market is a great way to potentially make money in the future and get the experience you need for, you know, a paying job.
Now, your company, are you finding that enterprises are really searching for the kinds of solutions you're talking about? So you're able to go in the door and say, hey, Mr. Customer, I know you're trying to do this and you're trying to do that. Here's a unique, cost-effective way of doing it, and really doing it for maybe 10 or 20% of the cost of what it used to, you know, what they may have gone out, because, you know, content management systems in the past, you know, art technology or some of the big platforms, these things were ghastly expensive and very complex, very unique. And now you can do a lot of that same kinds of things with the combination you're talking about for a lot less money. That seems like that there's a business out there for that.
Well, I think you answered the question yourself.
Okay.
You know, doing it for 10, 20% of the cost for most of corporate America is usually, you know, the answer.
Yes. So that means there's some demand. Now, you've been one of the original supporters. I think you were at the first or second WordPress meetup we ever had, and you continue to come back and share your knowledge, your experience. I mean, you've got a lot more technical experience than most of all of us put together, but you still come back and be involved. What keeps you involved with the WordPress meetup, and why do you enjoy being involved so much?
I like seeing the community grow. I like, you know, the first time somebody actually, I've seen it several times at meetups, where it's their first time they actually see WordPress and how they instantly almost fall in love with the product, you know, and you tell them it's free and that, you know, all you gotta do is set up hosting and, you know, they can run WordPress. It's just amazing. It's amazing what people are doing with the software. It's come a long ways. It's been out for 7 years, and it's unfathomable. I never realized in 2003 what WordPress would be today.
Well, it has been an amazing journey. You've been a big part of that. You've contributed to the code. You've been a part of looking at, and I think just since, you know, again, I don't know how long we've had this WordPress meetup. I guess we maybe even had our official 1-year anniversary, but we're now up over 200 people here in Chicago that are networking and exchanging ideas. So it's really, you know, my hat's off to you to giving, you know, the support that you've given us and really providing the technical skill that you provide and always being there to answer questions. And I think it just speaks well to Chicago really getting a hold of this new technology called WordPress. We're going to continue to talk about what people are doing here. It may sound like a lot of technical mumbo jumbo to some of the people out there, but I assure you, very user-friendly, many different ways you can engage it. And if you've ever thought about having a website, managing your own content, getting it out there, and just putting your feet in the water, this WordPress is really a great way to experience that, and coming out to the WordPress meetup where you can share ideas with other people. So I want to thank Dan for his continued support with what we're doing, and I guess we're going to be looking for some big things from you as you convince some of Chicago's corporations to take a dive into this content management area using WordPress and Oracle. Hey, we're going to talk with another WordPress developer here in a minute. We'll be right back.